Hi, it's Tuesday, May the 10th, and this is your daily devotion. I hope that you heard the sermon on Sunday and got to be a part of the wonderful times of worship in the two services. My devotion comes from thoughts generated by Bobby's very excellent sermon on the series, how do we live a resurrected life? And you may or may not know, but we usually preach a series of sermons, and one or the other of Reverend Harding or I will get to preach some one of those in the midst of that series. And so Bobby got the title, Showing Self-Control. And he began his sermon by saying that his family thought that was pretty hilarious, that he got the sermon on self-control, making the joke that apparently he struggled from that. And he did tell us behind the scenes a story that was pretty hilarious about that, but I'm not going to tell that now. You can ask him about that. But I thought as he was saying, how funny that I would preach a sermon on self-control if I have that issue. Of course, if indeed he did have the issue of a struggle with self-control, then Bobby would be the very one that needs to teach that lesson, because only when you've dealt with something can you understand what it's like to deal with it, right? And then you can teach how to get through it. Henry Nouwen said in The Wounded Healer, "The great illusion of leadership is to think that a man can be led out of the desert by someone who has never been there." My very first teaching interview, you may not know, I was a teacher first. I was a teacher of science, high school science and literature. And so I interviewed with Rutherford County, my very first interview out of college, no experience except student teaching and my transcripts, So that's what you take to your interview. You've got your transcripts with your grades, your recommendations from your student teaching, and that's about it. You don't have much to go on. So I interviewed with the science supervisor for the county, and it was going along pretty good, and then he asked me, "Well, Joyce, how'd you do in chemistry?" And I knew that he had my transcripts right in front of him, and I knew that on that transcript there were a couple of C's in chemistry. I was A's and B's everywhere else. Chemistry, there was a C or two. And I knew that he could look it up. So I had to tell the truth. And I said, well, I did struggle a little bit in chemistry. And to my surprise, he said, "Thank goodness. It's really difficult when we get these people in the math and science positions who never struggled with their beloved subject and can't understand the struggles the kids are going through, and they can't teach it because to them it's just so obvious." He said, "I think it'll be good that you know that it's hard and it's a struggle, and you'll be able to help the children through it." And I did get the job. And I thought, thank goodness I told the truth. I thought it was going to lose me the job. Well, the fact is, we learn from going through the difficult times, right? And then we're able to teach one another. And as I thought of this, I remembered that Jesus knows this about us. Jesus has been through the hard times like us, of course, He also knows that we are going to be able to help one another because of our imperfections that we learn to deal with. In Luke 22, 31 through 34, Jesus said to Simon, Peter, "Simon, Simon, listen, Satan has demanded to sift all of you like wheat, but I have prayed for you that your own faith may not fail. And when once you have turned back, strengthen your brothers." And he, Peter, said to him, "Lord, I'm ready to go with you to prison and to death." Jesus said, "I tell you, Peter, the cock will not crow this day until you have denied 3 times that you know me." Jesus knew that Peter was going to struggle, and he knew that Peter was going to betray him, and yet still, Jesus also knew that he would come through it, and then he would be able to turn back and strengthen the others. That's awesome. So when you go through hard times, nobody wants to go through hard times. But this is maybe our greatest moments of learning, when we have to struggle. And we can also remember that Jesus also not only uses our struggles for us, but he has been through our struggles. In Hebrews 4:15, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin." Jesus gets it. He gets us. He knows the struggle, and he's going to teach us something through it. And then he might even use us to teach somebody else. Pretty cool. Have a great day.